Hey y'all, it's your sugar here, and I'm back. Sorry about last week. I had some things going on, but now I'm back and we talking women's boxing here on Talkin' Fight. Okay, I'm Natalie Sugar Brown. Um, I'm pro fighter, amateur fighter, the sweetest thing that you will ever see in the ring. But now I get to talk about it. So let's talk, okay? Um, this week's topic is we're going to break down the lightweight women's division, right? Because the Sugar Show is about women's boxing. And uh, on this platform, what I want to do and what I've always wanted to do, I'm so grateful I get the platform to do it, is to talk about the real, what's really real in women's boxing. How does this thing go down and who are the real names? Because um, it's kind of like soap operas in a little bit in women's boxing, where you kind of have to know the background story and understand how things move in order to appreciate the talent that's out here. So, um, getting started, we're going to jump right into it, and my lovely assistant is going to give me the first lady that we want to talk about in this lightweight division. Okay, so we're looking at Jennifer Hahn, starting off Jennifer Hahn. Um, Jennifer Hahn actually just recently had a fight against Michaela Meyer. So Jennifer Hahn is number one on this list because she came fresh out of a fight. Now, um, let's talk about Jennifer Hahn. Jennifer Hahn right now is she's actually a crone right now, and if you guys have been keeping up with me, I've explained to you what the terminologies is or are in women's boxing when we describe uh, the development and the cycle of maturity in uh, in the game. So Jennifer Hahn is a crone, meaning she's up there in the age. She has been around long enough, had enough successes, been up in enough of a name that she's kind of peaked, plateaued, and now she's looking to make her way out of the fight game. And at this point, her name is very valuable on someone's resume because she has done so well in her boxing career. She was a great amateur. As a matter of fact, she was a part of my uh, generation, my class as an amateur. She was a small weight girl when I was a girl boxing too. But Jennifer Hahn was always around, and we're actually friends. So take nothing away, because Sugar's always uh, loyal to the truth. So I ain't going to gas you about this girl or this broad, this fighter, but she is real. Jennifer Hahn is the real deal. She's earned her stripes. She's been around. She's got that. She's just that girl next door. That was always uh, her mo. That was always her flavor. The cute girl next door that will whoop up on your ass if you don't have your ducks in a row. She was always ranked high as an amateur, so she was always in the top five. Slighted normally, because the thing about Jennifer Hahn is she got guns, but the guns ain't got no pop. Okay, she can fight now, but if you can absorb the punishment, or if you're a bigger person than her, you could withstand her attacks enough to possibly pull something off. But if you can't fight, she'll beat you up. Okay. And we're looking at a fight for what it is, a fight, right? And skills pay the bills. She has a lot of skill. She's very entertaining to watch. The girl got heart. And uh, we're going to kind of break her down so you understand what you're looking at. My lovely assistant, do we have any pictures of Jennifer Hahn in action? See if you could click to the next. See what we got going on. Boom! Look at that. Okay, so this is Jennifer Hahn in action. She great pedigree, like I said. Uh, Great background in amateur boxing. Always highly ranked, and as a pro, she developed nicely. She, aside from becoming a mom, she stayed in it and she fought some good opposition. Her opposition now, the weight classes ranged from 124 pounds to 140 pounds. Okay. So she was willing to get in there with a good variety of other women and throw blows, which shows you the kind of heart she's got. And in women's boxing, you know, they really need to uh, they need to have a category or some kind of standard to to the value of the opposition that each woman faces, because a 5-0 ain't a 5-0, meaning someone could have fought uh five um five chickadees, you know what I'm saying, and then and got 5-0, and then another person could have fought five killers and had the 5-0, right? So it's not they're not the record is not relative. I always tell people about women's boxing, don't be fooled by the records in women's boxing. Women's boxing is not about the records. Women's boxing is about who the fighter is. You got to get to know her, right? And either you like her or you don't. That's women's boxing. Women's boxing is and will always be women behaving badly. Okay, so they've always pulled names out the hat, you know, because people have always just wanted to see two very skilled women scrap. And we've had some great scraps, some great matchups throughout history, and we've had some ones that should have they should have stayed in the bargain bin or something like that, right? But it's the growth of our industry. It is what it is, and I'm hoping that as the opportunities expand for women fighting on these cards and getting promotions, the true talent, the true cream will rise to the top, and we'll start to see some really good matchups. So with Jennifer Hahn, let's do some. I'm going to give you some notable names that she has on her resume. Okay, so she's a featherweight. Super featherweight. You know, that weight class is not as hype, you know what I'm saying, not as hot, and I'm gonna say it, you know. But what I'll say about the weight class is there have been some hitters, you know. It is a weight class that you, we should pay attention to, because a lot of women start there and then you know, they move up, and some of them make a name for themselves. Some of them have made good contenders in opposition for other champions. Um, so she has fought. Uh, sorry, the type of fighter she is. Okay, so Sugar kind of gets into some, you know, trouble when she shows these clips. So, I got to describe the fighter best I can, but what I want you to do is do some homework. Have a look at these ladies. I mean, it really it really opens up the floor for you guys to have some names and to go into the library now. Now we have a library on YouTube, that we can look at and find these women in action. So, super featherweight, she fought Helen Joseph. Okay. And the thing about Jennifer Hahn is Jennifer Hahn, her style, because y'all got to keep up with Sugar. Sugar has done an episode, a session where I go through styles make fights, and I will always refer and tell you about the style of a fighter, right? So, Jennifer Hahn she's a boxer fighter hybrid. Okay, she's a great boxer, but she's very elusive and tricky. So I would say more so she's a fighter that has cleaned up their act and added some boxing into her style. And she showed out. I can't be any more proud of her performance against Michaela Meyer because, once again, skills pay the bills. And if you got skills, you're going to expose a fighter like Michaela Meyer. She exposed how one-dimensional Meyer really is. Meyer wants to be this fighter that is big and tough and, do these grand shots and like she's a broad beater. But if you got skills, you deflect these marvelous shots that Michaela tries to carry off with her performance, because she really does focus on generalship. Meyer does. That's really how she gets by, and she makes you think that she's doing better than she is in these fights. And I'm not hating, okay? But what I do is I do appreciate a good fight. And that last Jennifer Hahn versus Michaela Meyer, the past weekend that happened was a good fight. Jennifer Hahn showed that a good guard, right? If you have a good guard and good head movement, you can get in on Michaela anytime you want. Michaela Meyer is a tall, rangy fighter, and Jennifer Hahn is a short fighter. She's about 5'4". I think Michaela Meyer is something like 5'9". And she was getting in at will and running her hands and running combinations on Michaela on the inside, stunning Michaela, right? So Michaela, once Jennifer got in and started running her hands, Michaela couldn't do anything besides drop her body on Jennifer Hahn, which is it's a tactic. It is a tactic that fighters use, but when you start using it and it becomes like a thing in your arsenal, it's now you're cheating, okay? And Sugar always says all's fair in a fight, but what I'm saying is all's fair in a fight if there's skill behind that execution. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to you drop your body every time somebody comes in. You make the adjustment. Michaela Meyer never adjusted in that fight. All she did was drop her body. So, what I will hope is in the future, these other fighters look at this fight that happened just this past weekend and know that, I mean, if it was Sugar, because Michaela Meyer knocked on my door, and just like I was willing to drop down and fight McCaskill, I was going to drop down to 132 and meet Michaela, but when you drop and when you sacrifice that much of yourself, you're not the same fighter when you go down there. Which when we get to that part of the session, I'll elaborate a bit more about that. Um, but we're gonna go back into Hahn's resume. So Hahn has fought Helen Joseph. Helen Joseph is a tough fighter, a banger. Okay. Helen Joseph, if you want to look at this fighter, comes forward. There is no deviation in the attack or the approach of Helen Joseph. She's right there in front of you, and she going keep hammering and knocking you, beating on you until you fall. Now, if you got enough sense to step off the line of fire in front of Helen Joseph, then barbecue chicken, you know what I'm saying? Like now we eating food, right? So, I mean, Helen Joseph was a good contender, but that problem wasn't very hard to solve, okay? Um, Jennifer solved it because she had the skill to pay the bill. Okay. Then she fought Katie Taylor. Okay. So she fought Katie Taylor, and Katie Taylor is a boxer. I did a little homework and had a look at this fight. Katie called Hahn when she was cold, right? And I've explained this to you before. I mean, to the audience before, meaning that when you're a good fighter, that nobody ain't going to pull you fresh out the hot grease. You know what I'm saying? They're going to let you sit around and cool down and get cold before they approach you, right? Don't nobody want that, that sizzle. Um, I always joke about it. You take a chance when you get that thing out the hot grease and you gotta, right? Don't nobody want that, right? But sometimes it's so good that you got to get it out the hot grease, and that's what I want to see. I want to see these fighters fight other fighters when they're hot. Don't wait until the lady gets stale and pick a fight with her. you know Ooh, so we got tuning in tonight, we got Michael in, and we got Miss Scott back in. Thank you guys for coming back, joining me at 7:30 on Wednesday nights to talk about women's boxing. Talk the talk, sugar, and love to spit that truth. I will always be loyal to the truth, and I thank you guys for appreciating that. So yeah, we going to go back into the there has to be some kind of honor system in what we're doing, right? And I always talk, I always say this, and it's just a fighter in me, Um, quit being a punk. My coaches used to say that to me, but my coaches used to say that to me because it's not that Sugar never wanted to fight. It's just that Sugar was so meek on the inside. She was afraid to let Miss Too Bad out. But when Miss Too Bad came out, that's when you had something good going on in that ring. So Miss Too Bad, Sugar, me, I always stepped and always knocked on these women's door when they was hot. When the grease was when they had that sizzle on them. But they didn't want Sugar unless she was cold. So that's rampant in women's boxing, and I want you, the audience, I want people who are starting to love women's boxing, to hold these paper tigers, these so-called champions, accountable now for stepping up, because it's a sport where you extend yourself. The victory is that I extended myself. I went there, I stepped to her, and we went there, but I pulled off the win. Not, oh, The ref cheat helped me. Ref helped me win. Oh, it was in my backyard. Oh, the promoter put on the card, so the judge is going to be biased to me. No, there has to be some kind of honor in boxing, in women's boxing. So she fought Katie Taylor. She did good against Katie Taylor to me, but she was cold. So Katie was sharp like a razor, as usual. So, and Hahn had to figure out the timing in that fight. And by the time Hahn got the timing, fight was over. 2-minute rounds go by really fast, especially when you got somebody running around you. We know Katie Taylor ain't gonna stand there and fight with you. Katie Taylor, you're gonna have to turn into a track star plus a boxer if you want to catch Katie and put your hands on her. So Jennifer Hahn also fought Olivia Garula. Olivia Garula is a crone now, but Olivia Garula is a great contender. She's a journeywoman. She has been in there with some great opposition. So Jennifer Hahn beat Olivia Garula. And Garula, I would describe her style. She's a brawler. Olivia Garula is a brawler. She's strong. She's a short fighter as well. I think she's about 5'2" or something like that. And she's rough and tumble. I like her style when but she would just she was always a hair away from getting the chicken. You know what I'm saying? But she is a good fighter. I don't think she's stepped out of the game just yet. Jennifer Hahn has fought Jerry Stitzes. That is another one. Jerry Stitzes is a fighter. Okay, Jerry Stitzes is that Walmart parking lot fighter. Okay, she can fight. I can't tell you how she gonna beat you because it's always different when you stand in front of Jerry. Jerry fights you, and if you allow Jerry to get wild in there, Jerry takes control and you lose the fight. So it just shows that Hahn has the skill to contain that type of fighter, right? Because I'm saying these names because I'm showing you, I'm giving you Hahn's resume, the problems that she has solved, the women that she has gotten past. Okay, these are notable women. She's fought Melissa Saint Vil, but she lost against Saint Vil, right? Because Saint Vil is also a fighter. Saint Vil is a fighter, okay? Rough and tumble fighter too. And she's strong, so she doesn't have that. She has pop, but she doesn't have that power that'll knock you down. But she will beat you blind. Okay, she will turn you into goodness. Sorry, she will warp your face and turn you into something else if you let her put her hands on you enough times. Melissa Saint Vil. So she lost against her. Notable match. Melissa Saint Vil is, I would say, a sturdier fighter. Moving on, she fought a fighter named Nydia Feliciano. Now, Nydia Feliciano is a boxer. That girl, she's a great boxer, but she doesn't have no pop behind her punches. Okay, so Feliciana, she'll you get in there and she'll outbox your behind. She will outbox you, but you'll walk through it. And if you're strong enough, you'll still knock her around in there. She will make Nydia Feliciano is the type of boxer or that will make lemons into lemonade. Though whatever you give her, she's got the logistics. She's got the math, right, to counter you. She's very intelligent that way. So Jennifer Hahn got a draw against Nydia Feliciano. Um, and I was not able to uh, see that fight, but I'm requesting anyone out there to, if you have it or if you know of where it is, please post it. Please let Sugar know, because that matchup is actually a good matchup in women's boxing. Nydia Feliciano versus Jennifer Hahn. That's a good one to watch. Um, she fought Michaela Meyer, of course, over the weekend. And like I said, she did well. At will, she was able to step past Michaela Meyer's guard and range and put her hands on her. She landed that overhand right at will on Michaela. It's Michaela bloodied her nose, yes, but I would say that Hahn worked harder in that fight. Hahn displayed more skills and generalship. Hahn was the better fighter in that fight. It's just that, you're going to get a raw deal with a fighter like Michaela Meyer, because number one, Michaela Meyer don't never step outside, of her home. Number two, her promoter, she has a huge promoter. And so you will have to kill the queen with that matchup. Honorable mention. So Jennifer Hahn, like I said, the weight, the range of her weight, the range of weight in her opposition goes from 24 pounds to 140 pounds. Okay, so she fought a fighter named Keita Watkins. And I'm honorably mentioning the fact that she stepped up to Keita Watkins, because Keita Watkins has also fought some high-end opposition in the higher weight classes. Keita Watkins is actually junior welterweight, 140, super lightweight, 140 pounder. And so Jennifer Hahn stepping up to fight this opposition, she did give up a lot in stepping up. And I'm gonna give her props for doing that. So we're going to move on to the next fighter. My lovely assistant, can you put up who's next in the lightweight division that we're going to talk about tonight? Who made the cut? Who made Sugar's cut? Okay, Michaela Meyer. All right, so Michaela Meyer fought Jennifer Hahn this weekend, and she gets mentioned second, not because she's better than anyone or anything, it's because she's fresh off of a win. Okay, so Michaela Meyer is a contender, meaning she's not a crone, she's a contender now. So Jennifer Hahn is 38 years old. So that's crone age, right? They always talk about age makes a difference in women's boxing. But the thing about age in women's boxing is it's not like men's boxing, right? Actually, the older the woman, that is when her prime is. So from 35 to crone, from 35 years old to croneship, which is around, I would say croneship can go up to 45 years old. Okay, so from the age of 35 to 45, that is actually when a female fighter is in her prime. 35 and down, you're still green, you're still young. Michael chimes in, like a fine wine, the women get better with age. Absolutely. Right? But a lot of people don't realize that. They don't. A woman's body matures, so the muscles get solid as she gets older. The bones actually get harder as she ages. She's there's more testosterone. You know, she's more now. Like Mike would say, she's ripe. Okay, she's aged well enough now to beat your ass. Right. And I've given the examples, several examples. There's a whole bunch of stories out there. I've given my own where I was a young whippersnapper, a young scrapper, when I started boxing, and I had my second amateur fight. The first girl was a contender like me. She was young. I was a teenager, and she was in her early 20s. And the second one, my second amateur fight, I fought a crone. And the crone took everything I had. And Sugar has knockout power. Until this day, you get me wrong, you get me cross. And I can serve you up some dynamite still. That's the thing about being able to knock somebody out legitimately. It's a divine gift. So you'll always have it. I think I inherited that from my grandmother, because my grandmother had them hands. She did, and right till she closed her eyes, if uh, you, if she caught you good, she could hurt you. And, so going back to my point, as women, as we age in boxing, that's from 35 to 45. That is when we are in our prime. So 35 and down, you're developing, you're finding your way, you're finding your style. Your body hasn't really matured into what it's gonna be, so you won't really know how to use it. Meaning, body doesn't mature. As women mature, our booties and our legs get bigger. Yeah, we ain't carrying like we used to. And that's where the power is. Men, they carry their power in their chests and their back and their shoulders. Women, we carry our power in our hips, our booty, our legs. That's where the punches come from. So as we mature, as a woman matures, a lot of men will appreciate that, and a lot of women will appreciate it too. If you carrying down there, that means you going to eventually start packing some power, packing a punch. Um, so going back to Michaela Meyer. Michaela Myers, she's a contender. She's 31 years old. She's a super featherweight, but she's starting to try to rally into lightweight. So that's why I pulled her into this conversation, because I have an issue with this fighter, and we want to talk about it, right? If people want to say I pick on Michaela and da 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 da, yeah, I'm picking on her, right? Because she don't play fair. Okay, you can't beat up people in your division and think you bad, and then be trying to call out and place yourself in contention in another division where people been working and waiting in line for their opportunity. You don't do that, Michaela, right? So until excuse me, until you get your resume up and you start fighting actual lightweight contenders, set your ass down somewhere. Yes, I said it. And I'm gonna tell you some other reasons why. This fighter, you just got to, Michaela. You may have something. You have a great promoter. Your promoter has given you a fantastic trainer in Al Heyman. He's got a good resume. I don't agree with how he's designing you, because what he's fixing you up to do, you ain't got the guns to do it. Yeah, you don't. Right? He wants to make you this throwback body puncher. Um, the, you know, that ain't you, boo boo. Right? Because you can't fight on the inside, Michaela Meyer, and you only have the guns long range to do anything. So you do play some really good body shots, but that ain't going that ain't going to do nothing in the weight divisions that are most competitive, in lightweight 135 and up. Like, you don't have the guns to uh, play that game up there. So stay down where you are, and may fight some real opposition, because there's some real opposition down there in your super featherweight division. But wait your turn, boo boo. Now the range of her um, opponents, or of her opposition, is she only fights people or women between 139 and 129 and 131 pounds. I'm going to repeat that again. She only fights opposition who are between 129 pounds and 131 pounds. So, baby, that hard pumping Kool-Aid, okay? You have a great amateur background. Michaela Meyer has a great amateur background. She didn't make it to the Olympics. I think she got, who she get clipped by? Queen Underwood, I think it was, in the amateurs. Um, I think it was Queen, but she got clipped, and didn't make it to the Olympics. Um, but as a pro now, she's sitting pretty. They're moving her very well. She doesn't take much chances, right? Because she's in such a great position. So she's not stepping outside of that range of weight, 129 to 131, because she doesn't, number one, she has a huge promoter who brings in lambs for her to slaughter. And number two, she doesn't have to, the work is already done. As a woman, as a female fighter, you actually, well, where I'm coming from where I'm coming from now, right? This is my journey from my generation. It looks like it's getting better, but you actually fight your way up to getting better handlers, better management, better promotion. You fight your way uh, to easy street. You don't just uh, get put on easy street, where some of these fighters have. I have to say, Michaela Meyer is one of them. She got put on easy street, and she's staying on easy street, from what I understand, because they've signed her for a very long time, her promoter. Um, so let's review some of her opposition. So Michaela Meyer has fought in her division, Nydia Feliciano. And Nydia Feliciano actually was the first fighter to expose Michaela Meyer, because Nydia going to make you fight coming to her. Nydia going to make you fight moving backwards, and you're going to see Michaela Meyer doesn't really have that variety. She doesn't. She only fights moving forward, and she can only fight you in deep water. And so Nydia has had the skill set to expose that, and make Michaela be a problem for Michaela. And though they said Michaela Meyer won that fight, Nydia actually outboxed her in that fight. I want you guys to have a look at it. And the thing about it is, when they give a good fighter like Nydia Feliciana such a raw deal, it's painful for a fighter, for someone who appreciates the sport, someone like me, to watch, because that's not what the sport's about. Sport's about skills, right? The sport's about may the best woman win, not may the hometown, may the promoter's girl win. That's not fair, right? That part of boxing, or that part of fighting, needs to be fair. A fight don't have to be fair, right? But judging judging it, there needs to be some kind of standard of what has to happen, or what the performance needs to be for a fighter to actually legitimately win. And I don't think Michaela did enough to pull off a win over Nydia. I think if anything, they should have at least not, they shouldn't have robbed her. They should have gave her a stankin' draw, right? But moving on. So then she fights Michaela Meyer, fights a journeywoman named Vanessa Bradford. Michael comes in. We need unbiased judges. Baby, I'm going to tell you this, right? That's like wishing for world peace. We ain't never going to have that, right? But what we will always expect is of um a standard of living together, a standard of how to operate in this world. And right, how to operate in, you don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? You go to jail for doing that. Yeah. Michael said better chances as winning the Powerball, right? Like, as a human being, that there's a certain standard of existing in this world, right? So there should be a certain standard as a judge, as a fighter, as a commissioner. It should be a certain standard of um judging, or determining a, a fight. There needs to be a set. That's what men's boxing has that women's boxing does not have, right? You ain't going, I mean, there have been robberies, yes, in men's boxing, but you're not going to blatantly steal a fight from a fighter on a huge stage. You're not going to do that, and you're not going to do that without getting a second chance or a chance to redeem yourself, right? And so when they these robberies that happen, Michaela, I'm not even going to call them gifts. I'm going to call them robberies, right? You and your people have robbed some good fighters. Y'all didn't even you didn't even give them a draw, right? And yes, I'm talking to you, Michaela, because you can talk to your people, right? That the fighter can talk to people. The fighter can extend themselves. The fighter can speak for themselves. She, when she go to the press conference and everything, she talked like the guy that I'm sorry, I got to talk from my perspective. She talking like the player who you found out cheated, right? Just hold on, right? We we weren't actually dating at the time, or whatever. She always got some slimy shit that she can say to play off the fact that her and her people just robbed a good contender, and it's not fair. She fought Calista Silgado, who is another journeywoman. She has fought some great contenders. Honorable mention, of course, she beat them. She stepped up and fought Helen Joseph, and she solved a problem. Miss Scott comes in. The older fighters choose less experienced fighters that they can beat. I'll tell you, I'll say this, Miss Scott. The older fighters in the game have been through the ringer. They've been robbed. They've been around long enough to either triumph over some screwed up decisions, or they have robbed enough people to where they know how to rob a win, right? They're just at the point in their career, the older fighters, the crones, where they're seasoned enough to make it an entertaining encounter, right? These broads can fight. These crones can fight. They can fight. They got the talent. They got the generalship. You're going to see a fight, which is what we buy tickets for, which is what women's boxing should be about. It's not about the pretty girl with the taut boobies that that you could low key, ease yourself, whack off on, because she's sweaty and she's jumping around. No, it's about respecting the journey of a woman who has matured into, uh, as a gladiator, and gotten to the point where she's learned a couple tricks. She knows the ropes, and she'll take another contender, uh, through the journey of an ass whooping, take and give. You'll see the difference between how a crone fights and how a contender fights. Miss Scott, she comes in. If you are the underdog, you have to prove yourself. Absolutely. If you are the underdog, of course you have to prove yourself. I was the underdog several times in my career, right? Because Sugar wasn't lucky enough to get put on Easy Street, but Sugar had the skills to pay the bills. So when Sugar showed up and was the underdog, win or lose, she stole the crowd. Because, like I said, I focused on having enough skills in my bag to be a problem. And I had the power and the pop to hurt you. And that's entertaining. That's something that, win or lose, people want to buy a ticket to see. And that's women's boxing. Women's boxing really isn't about, like I said, a broad winning or losing. Can she fight? That's what women's boxing is about. Does she have a belt? Who cares about a belt, right? I got belts in my closet now that weigh more than a sanctioned belt. You want to know why? Because I got them, right? And none of these champs with the belts, when I came knocking and say, yeah, you know what, let's fight. Let's see. Let's fight for that belt. They wouldn't give me the chance because they knew Sugar was a problem that they probably couldn't solve, most likely. And Sugar was going to put her hands on them. One way or another, they were going to feel it. But moving along, so she fought, Michaela Meyer fought Helen Joseph. Michaela Meyer now also stepped up, but low key did it dirty. Fought Erica Farias. And like I said, her range of the weight class range of her opponents was between 129 and 131. Erica Farias is a junior welterweight, super lightweight champion. Okay? That's 140 pounds. So what her and her people did, I call it the okey doke, is put the okey doke on this fighter. Okay? So, I don't know what the shenanigans were behind making the negotiating the deal, because one favor, you do one favor, then it opens you up for other favors down the line. So maybe Erica Farias uh, uh, did this promoter or did this fighter a favor, right? But Erica Farias went down in weight, right? And when you go down in weight, you sacrifice a, a large part of yourself, right? You're not the same fighter. Right? You may not have the pop on your punches because you need your weight to have that pop and be able to attack like you normally can, right? So Erica Farias sacrificed herself to go down to Michaela Meyer's weight class. Michaela Meyer dominated her because when you're 140 and you drop down damn near 10 pounds to fight somebody, you're going to be weak. I've experienced it. That's what I did when I fought McCaskill. McCaskill didn't fight me, or I didn't fight McCaskill at junior welterweight, which is what Sugar fought at, right? Junior well, I fought, my range of opponents was, I fought uh, opponents from 135 pounds right on up till 155 pounds. All right, that's That's on record, okay? That's why I can talk the shit I talk, okay? Because I'm a baddie out here, and I'll say it. I'll say it to anybody's face, right? Because I've proven it. I've gone in there with the best of them at good contentions. I didn't cherry pick or choose, and all these different at that from 135 pounds right on up to 155 pounds. Me, right? So when you have somebody that only fights between a certain, only fights within 3 pounds of a weight division or a weight category, they're not extending themselves. They ain't as bad as you think they are. They're only bad for certain people. They only bad for certain people that weigh that certain size. That's the only people they bad about. Okay, or they might only be bad about people that are this weight and lower. They want to be the bigger person in there. So Michaela Meyer fought Erica Farias, who went down and got beat by her. Another person who exposed Michaela Meyer is Mavia Hamadouche. Okay, so Mavia Hamadouche is a banger, pure banger. Mavia stood in front of Michaela all 10 rounds, took and gave, and did not move. And that was another robbery, not a gift for Michaela, a robbery. Mavia Hamadouche won that fight. I don't care what nobody say, right? If you think Michaela won, it's because you like her, okay? I'm talking to people who who like boxing, who like fighting. I'm not talking about people who want a friend, okay? That fight there, Mavia Hamadouche was the dominant in that fight. She won that fight, but they robbed her. She didn't get it, so she stays in contention. And then this past weekend, Michaela Meyer beat Jennifer Hahn. And I told you how that went. That Jennifer Hahn did a great performance, but she's a crone and she didn't have the guns to really make Michaela step back. But she fought the hell out of she fought a hell of a fight and exposed the champ, right? So I'm looking for Michaela Meyer. I always say this, girl, step up. Girl, step up. Michaela Meyer does not fight outside of her hometown. Okay, I had to find names for this fighter's resume, but yet she's talking about she calling Katie out, she calling people out. Girl, sit down. Okay, and then when you do get up, find you somebody real to fight, right? Because give me a lovely assistant. Let me see this girl in action. Give me the photo of this girl in action. Are you there? Come on, there she go, delivering one of those fantastic body shots that Coach Heyman, is training her to do. But do you see Hamadouche flinching from that? No. She ain't got the guns to pull that shit off. Okay. They gotta redesign the plan for this fighter, because Michaela Meyer, as much as they pulled the bells and whistles and the garnish and parsley around you and you look like a good meal, you're not even a snack. Okay, step up, girl. You do have the skills, you have a lot of potential, you are a smart fighter, but the way you're developing Michaela Meyer as a fighter, it's not going to give you longevity in this in boxing, longevity of being an actual actual notable name. You can't keep robbing everybody. Cecilia Brækhus is the last fighter, I think, of the era that got away with doing that shit. you people going to start calling you out for it. I'll be the first. Okay. Now, let's go into the next fighter. Lovely assistant, can you bring on this next fighter? Who we got? Who we got? Come on now. Christina Leonardo. Okay. The thing about, these are box rec mug shots. And I got to say this, box rec. Y'all got to do us better, right? Even my picture, you pulled me up on box rec. Even my picture. Why we got to look like the juvenile detention center girls, the girls off of Mari Povich, that the badass teenage girls. Come on, we clean up very well out here, right? Sugar and Christina, she is actually a beautiful girl. Y'all ain't even need to do her like this, right? Pick a better picture, y'all. Anyway, we gonna move in. Um, so uh I'm gonna talk about this fighter Christina, because I think she's the new superstar of this division. Okay, and I'm gonna say this because the other people in the division they getting stale. They getting stale, right? You see them, and you see them slide by and skim. They always skimming a win, skimming a win, skimming a win, right? Christina shows up to fight. She shows up to bang. She's a lightweight. She's a contender. Goodness, I'm not sure how old she is. Um, I think they kept that off record. I'll find it, right? But girl, you ain't worth that much of my time right now, right? But if anybody knows that number, please chime in. So I'm saying that she's low key the new superstar because Christina, they used to call her Black Mamba, but I like the updated name Medusa, because I channeled Medusa when I fought when I fought, what's her name? Her last name was Tammy Johnson. Is it Tammy? Yeah. And I feel that vibe, so I like it. She's out of Greece, Christina. So that. Uh, oh, thank you, Micah. So Christina Leonardo is 34 years old. Okay, so she's about to become a crone, right? 34. She's getting ripe. Okay, and I see it. I see it. That's why I'm calling her the new superstar. She's she jumped into the game. She doesn't have an amateur background. She jumped into the game, and she not only jumped into the game, she jumped into the hot grease. Okay, she didn't fight nobody cold. She fought top opposition when she jumped into the game. The age range of her opponents, or opposition, not opponent, but opposition, is she fought from 130 pounds to 140 pounds. So that's a 10-pound gap. That's big. Find it's so delicate that 3 pounds make a difference. Um, Tony's reviews. Hey, you can't. I was wondering if you was going to check me. Yeah, Tony. She beat Katie Taylor and was robbed. I feel you on that. Tony's reviews chimed in. And that's the thing about Katie Taylor, I'm going to say. Katie, you're getting stale. You're stale, girl. It's not getting, girl, you're stale. We getting sick and tired of you of you beating people by the skin of your teeth, and it's these really are not wins. um you getting right up there with Michaela. You starting to rob broads, you and your people. And I mean, she's got the hallelujah Jesus of women, promoter of boxing, women's boxing. Um, Goodness. Somebody chime in, give me the name because the name slips me. Um, who's Katie Taylor promoter? Somebody. Um, yeah. Her promoter, they the ones that promote Tyson Fury, these big name fighters. So she's on easy street. And Katie Taylor been on easy street. She didn't have to, jump up. Um, Tony's review says Serrano is about to show Katie what true class looks like. LOL. Her promoter is Eddie Hearn. Matchroom Promotions. Michael chimes in on. So I'm gonna tell y'all about that, Tony. We're gonna talk about that. As much as I would like to agree with you about the Serrano situation with Katie Taylor, I don't think Miss Scott asked, is 34 old for a boxer? Not for a female boxer, but for a male boxer, yes. 34 is old for a male boxer. 34 is not old for a female fighter. As I've said before, women fighters mature opposite, differently from men. So between the ages of 35 and I would give it all the way up till 45, that's when a female fighter is actually in her prime. Going back to what Tony said about Serrano. So Serrano's got skills. It's gonna be a good exchange, but Serrano ain't got the guns to do nothing with Katie. So I still see that matchup. That's why, I mean, really, you hear crickets. The fight's at the end of the month. Do y'all know that? This mega fight is in like 10 days. Tony's talking to Miss Scott. Miss Scott, Tony talking to you. He says, I'd say it depends on the weight class. The lighter the weight, the faster fighters get old because smaller weight classes depend heavily on speed, and that's the first thing to go. So I'm going to say this, Tony. I'm going to school you a little bit about women's boxing. The lighter weight classes still, yes, speed is the factor now. But let's talk women's boxing. Let's go down into history. Marcela Acuna, Jackie Nava. You know those women, right? There's a couple more out there. Barbie. These are Mexican crones. You can't fuck with them. And they're crones. These young girls can't mess with them. Right? And they're in the lower weight classes. They're in the smaller weight classes. As a woman matures, okay? She becomes her muscles, her body starts to get more dense, her bones become more dense. So when she puts her hands on you, you feel it, right? Getting beat by mama was different from when I got bopped up by grandma. And vice versa. I used to scrap with my sister, right? We were on the same level. I used to scrap in school, little girls, right? In the amateurs, right? I was the youngest of my time. I was the youngest of that class, of that generation. Sugar was. Too Bad was. But when I fought a crone, when she put her hands on me, I felt it. Okay? And if I fought that crone, if I was that young fighter fighting that crone as a pro, it wouldn't have turned out the way it did in the amateurs. So if we're talking about developing and getting ripe as a female fighter, I have to insist, Tony, that you understand that 35, between the ages of 35 and 45, and I'm saying 45 because we had Alicia Ashley at what, damn near 50, still whooping ass. It's just because now it's not marketable. Supposedly it's marketable to fight a person who has 11 wins, 68, 60 plus losses, but it's not marketable to fight a 50-year-old woman that still whoops ass. Go figure. Shelby. Good evening, Natalie Brown. Good evening, Shelby. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for chiming in. Good to see you on Wednesday. You new to this. I hope you become true to this, right? Chime in every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Just like Tony's Reviews does, just like Miss Scott does, just like Michael does, and a couple other people who I don't see tonight. But it's okay. Um, now, I'm talking about Christina Leonardo, uh, Shelby. It's funny. I watched Creed yesterday. Was such a good movie. Have you seen it? There's some good boxing movies out here, Shelby. Yes, I've seen that. Cedric comes in. Ceddy, you went on my line. Much respect, Sugar. Much respect, Ceddy. Cedric Sports Training. I love what you and Mike talk about. I love what that y'all do what y'all do, and thanks for supporting Sugar. Okay. Um. Where was I? Let's talk about Medusa, Christina Leonardo. I call her the man, Shelby chiming in. I watched the Rockies growing up and didn't think Creed would be good and maybe a cash grab, but was really happy I was wrong. Shelby comes back in a great movie. I hear you. You know, I've watched Creed. Um, it's alright. It does well. It's entertaining. It's a good movie. But listen, Shelby, you got to talk to me about women's boxing, right? We could talk about those movies, but this hour this time that I got right now on the line, on the platform, we got to talk about women's boxing. Tell me who you like. Tell me a women's boxing movie that you watched and you like. Um, Miss Scott chimes in. Layla Ali beat Frazier's daughter because she was younger and taller too. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, wait, that's not a lightweight fight, but let's talk. We want to talk. Miss Scott, watch that fight. Frazier lied. Whoop Layla ass. That fight. They had to pick Layla up off the stool and push her out in the ring to face. And Jackie, just like her daddy, Jackie Frazier. She was strong. And she was a crone at the time too, because Layla was in her 20s. Frazier lied was in her 40s and got in tremendous shape. She's a lawyer too. She's an intelligent woman. And she beat Layla ass. And I'm going to say that. I'm going to say it. Layla put up a good fight, but you know, it's going to be, you would probably have to be Jesus Christ's mom to beat Layla Ali. Not even Jesus Christ could beat Layla Ali in women's boxing. She got her daddy's name. You ain't going to, I mean, to give Layla Ali a loss, you know, it would be disrespecting Muhammad Ali, right? And we needed her. We needed her. She never gave much back. She gave us her name in women's boxing, but that's about all she did for women's boxing. You know, she gave her name. Shelby says, "Oh, sorry, I was just saying something I knew about boxing." Listen, Shelby. Listen, you know more about boxing than you think. Don't worry about watching Creed and stuff. You've probably been in a fight, or you probably seen a good fight, or want to see a good fight, right? So just listen, ask questions if you don't know much about boxing. This is where you ask the questions, baby. Right? You don't have to know for us to have a conversation. I'll tell you about it. We talking about these women, right? So ask me what you want to know about these fighters, these fighting women, these broads that I'm talking about, right? There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to know it. Ask me questions about what we talking about, Shelby. Shelby comes in again and don't know too much about male boxing either way. That's fine, right? You don't have to know about boxing to chime in. You don't have to know about boxing to talk about this, okay? I'm telling you about these women. So if you hear something, if you listen to what Sugar's saying, and even if you say, "Oh, okay," we're talking. We talked about Jennifer Hahn. We talked about Michaela Meyer. We talked about. You can even ask, what colors do she wear in the ring? You can talk about stuff that you like about this fighter, right? You can listen. I just want you to know about talk about women's boxing. So if you asking me a question about it, I, lovely, right? And ask me ask me what I ate for breakfast as a women's boxer. I'll tell you, right? And that's talking about boxing, and that's knowing about women's boxing. Ask me what I did. Ask me what I did to lose the weight. Ask me what happens in boxing, women and men, what we do to make weight, how we determine our weight, right? All of those things. Yes, you know more about this than you think. Join the conversation. Shelby says, "You think you could take Christina in a fight?" Let me tell you something about Sugar. I'm going to teach you. Shelby, you say you don't know much, but I'm going to tell you something today that you can run with. Natalie Sugar Brown could take anybody. Yes. Okay? Now, on paper, I didn't get some decisions were for me, some wasn't, but the proof is in the pudding, right? Number one, if I put my hands on you, I was going to knock you out. Number two, I had skills to pay the bills. Number three, that was pretty entertaining to watch, right? I can go all the way up to 10. I'll let y'all tell it, right? Google me, Natalie Sugar Brown, Natalie Too Bad Brown. Watch some of my fights. I've had good days at the office and some bad days at the office, but I'll let you tell it. Shelby says it. Shelby says, "Thank you for calling me baby. I really needed that." You know what? Sometimes we need a little sugar, and I'm here to give it to you, Shelby, every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Okay? Whatever I can give you to make life sweet, to make you feel good, I'll gladly participate. Um, Miss Scott comes in. "Jackie fights like a brawler." Yes, Jackie Frazier was a brawler, right? She was a brawler. Her dad was a brawler banger, right? Joe Frazier. Jackie was a brawler. She ain't come in there trying to clean, do nothing clean. Layla was the boxer. Layla had clean skills. Jackie knew that she had to roll in the mud with Layla and make it nasty, right? And it was an entertaining fight because I think she was successful in doing that. Miss Scott comes again. Layla was a better fighter. Layla was a better boxer. Jackie was the better fighter because she made it so that Layla could not dominate her in the fight. Layla couldn't handle her in that fight. She would hurting up Layla. Um, Shelby, what are your stats, Miss Sugar? Oh man. Well, my stats is I want you to look up the numbers. Google me, baby. Um, because I can't tell you the numbers off the top of my head. I was I was an elite amateur. I fought on the women's, I made the women's Olympic level boxing team. I was ranked number 2 in the world as an amateur. I got beat by Russia 2 times, and the 2 times I would say was Sugar went in there to scrap, and Irina Sinetskaya. I'll never forget you, girl. You're about 300 pounds now, but I never forget you, girl, because she was my rival, and she got me both times I went to the World Championships. So 2 times silver medalist as an amateur, um, ranked number two in the world. Um, Golden Glove champion, national Golden Glove champion, national champion, right? So I did excellent as an amateur. When I turned a pro, they didn't want no parts of me. So I got shelved and blackballed. Didn't have many sanctioned professional fights. But I think I forgot how many pro fights I've had. Um you got to look that up, baby. I didn't get an opportunity to get any belts. Um I I was I was a stepping stone for the welterweight champion right now, Jessica McCaskill. There are details behind that fight, right? That was the one. That's the one that kind of hurts every time I think about it, because I know that if I didn't sacrifice and go down in weight to fight her, um, and I did that because nobody was fighting me. So I did that to have a fight. She most likely would not have been the champ now. It would have been me, because she ended up going and fighting the lady that I stayed on her porch, knocking on her door for years to fight, Cecilia Bragas, and she wouldn't even look at me through the window. She fought everybody else except for me. So that's my stats, Shelby. Watch some of my fights. Um, oh, Shelby says, no, I meant your height and weight. So my height, I'm about 5'7", right? I wouldn't have given this information if I was still fighting, but I'm not taking contracts anymore. I don't think I'll be back. The pot ain't sweet enough. They knocking on my door now because I'm cold, right? But none of the numbers make sense enough for me to come back in, the jump back into Greece, right? So my stats says I fought my weight class. I was a junior welterweight, super lightweight, 140 pounds. Okay. And that was my weight. Even in the amateurs, I fought in the 147-pound division at 140, and the division down was 139. But I stayed in 140 because I had the guns, and the competition to me was more hype in 147, and I wanted some action. I was that type of. I have I have an alter ego. I really do. I have Natalie, who is shy and kind of meek. She's nice though. And then there's Too Bad, who is uh, she's the fire starter. She like trouble, and if you got a problem got a problem, because she gonna solve you before she gonna solve you with these hands before you get an opportunity to solve her. And then you got Sugar, and Sugar is the show woman. Sugar is going to look good while she's whooping ass, or Sugar should going to look good while she's in a fight. Sugar going to look good taking a shot, right? So I got 3 alter egos, and they fight in my body, but yeah, I enjoy being all of them. and and it's been quite a ride, and I love it. Tony's reviews comes in. Boxing is a dirty game. There are a lot of rigged decisions for fighters without huge backings. Absolutely. I too boxed with a 32-0 amateur record. Wow, that's very impressive. It's hard to get out of amateurs with an O. So that's good, Tony. He says, however, I chose not to take the gamble of being ripped off boxing pro. Well, Emmy and pro is different. You the pro, if you're that type of fighter, you can choose your destiny in pros, right? Now these guys, they call up a promoter and they say, oh, I want to get on your card, I want to be on the A side. What kind of shit is that? Lovely assistant, put up the picture of Christina Linda Darto in action. But how you going to call up the promoter and say, I want to be on the A side, meaning, oh, I'm coming to your party, or I'm coming to fight on your card, and I want to be the winner. What kind of shit is that? You sign up for a fight. You sign up to fight somebody else, and may the best fighter win. You don't come in knowing that you're going to be the winner. What kind of that's some bullshit. But that's what's happening in pros now, right? You buy your fights now. You can buy your fights now. You can buy your opponent now. But when you get to a certain level, unless you have that promoter backer behind you, like how Katie Taylor has a great backer, she can buy high-end opposition, rob them, and make them into opponents. That's the game now. And it's disgusting. We, the fans, the spectators, the people who are supporting this, we're the only ones that have the power to put a stop to it. And we need to. Now, Shelby says, watching some highlights of you knocking some white lady with pigtails down. Hey, I knocked him down all shapes, sizes, and colors. I sure did. I did some guys too in the gym. Yeah, I did. Thanks for doing your homework, Shelby. Some days we're good at the office and some days we're not so good. But thanks for looking me up. Let's talk about Christine Medusa. I'm off topic. Shelby says, all right, nice to talk to you. All the best. Take care. Well, don't leave me just yet. Stick around. Thanks for chiming in, baby. And I'm here whenever, if you see somebody else that you like and you have a question about it, or if you want to know more about what a fighter goes through, what we eat for breakfast, when we go to sleep. I'm a mom too. How it is to be a mother and a fighter at the same time, because that's a story in itself. Sometimes my son tells me his version of a story that I didn't even realize. Uh, that was what he saw, and it's just wonderful. My mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, right? So you can ask me questions. It doesn't have to be about boxing itself, but I was a boxer being all of these things, and you can ask me questions about that. Shelby comes in and says, mother and boxer, two tough battles. Who you telling, Shelby? Who you telling? Yes. But that's cool. See ya. All right, baby. See ya. Now, let's talk about Christina Leonardo. Okay, so she jumped into hot grease. She fought Katie Taylor, a boxer. Okay, Christina Leonardo is a banger. She don't want to do nothing but walk you down and put her hands on you. Okay, and she's strong. She is strong. She needs a bit more seasoning and development. She needs some training. She's very well conditioned, but she needs some technical training. So her punches now make more sense. If you guys know what I mean. Meaning, well, I'll elaborate on that. Your punches start to make sense when you know how to deliver them, when you know how to turn them over, when you know what angle to deliver them so they can have the greatest impact. That's seasoning, knowing that. And a youngin' ain't going to know that. A crone's going to know that. I know that if I hit you in a certain place, if I hit you in a certain spot, what it's going to do to you. A youngin', a contender, they just going to hit you. Okay? So that's why I say a crone is in their prime. Because when they fight you, they fighting you, and they fighting you in a fight where you got to think about all the shit they throw into you. Because when you get hit in these places, it starts to make you reconsider the fight. Think about, oh shit. Oh, she caught me there. Oh, she hit me there. I've never been hit there before, and that shit hurts. And then it stays with you for the rest of the fight, right? That's seasoning. That's being ripe. That's it. That's prime. Okay. Now, Medusa fought Katie Taylor, Delphine Persoon, Alicia Baumgardner, okay? And she actually beat Baumgardner. We want to talk about Baumgardner because she's in this lightweight. She's rallying in this division. And she messed around and stepped up and fought Candy Wyatt. Now, Candy Wyatt fights at 147 pounds, right? Candy Wyatt and her people them played that okie doke. They tried to do that okie doke with me. Okay. Signed up. She sent me, she challenged me to a fight at 140. Now I was on hiatus. So I was out I was cold, training, but cold. So I put my feelers out there and I said, hey y'all, Sugar's fighting Candy Wyatt. Question comes back. What weight you fighting Candy Wyatt at? Because Sugar, we know you fight at 140. I'm fighting her at 140. And they said, nah, Candy Wyatt never weighs in at 140. She always weighs in over 140, 145 or 147. And what she either does is she'll tell you, take the fight or leave it. And you've already been there. So you can risk fighting this big Frankenstein at, at her full-fledged weight because it's a big girl and she absorbs shots. Or she'll give you some of her purse. She'll give you a couple $1,000 or out of her purse for you to take the chance. And she's still going, if it's her promotion, she's going to beat you regardless. Tony's Reviews comes up and says, have a good night and keep up the good work. Thank you, Tony. Trifine Miss Scott comes in. Can we see a pic of one of your fights, Sugar? You know what? We're not going to do that tonight. I'll come back with a couple clips from my stuff for another show. I certainly will. And I know you're going to be here because you show up every Wednesday. But let's get back to the chat because I think I'm way over the time. But we want to finish the conversation. Damn, we're going into 9 p.m. We want to finish. Okay, so she fought Candy Wyatt, okay? And so her fight range, I'm saying you that she is a low-key superstar, but she is inactive now because she's a hard fighter to fight. She's tough opposition. So no one's they shelved her so she can cool down and get cold. And then you'll see them pull her out the hat maybe in a year or two. And she'll get a fight, and she'll have to fight a high end opposition that's been in action. So that's what you're gonna see with Medusa, Christina Leonardo. Goodness, we was at 3. And just I'm gonna mention the names of the other one. Let me see Leonardo in action so everyone can see. Lovely assistant, going to the next one. Next picture. Okay, so that's Leonardo. That's Medusa in action with the red boxing boots on, delivering a good shot to Katie Taylor. And now we're going into Terry Harper, number 4. Okay, Terry Harper is a contender. She's 25 years old. She She's taking chances in ranging from fighters between 129 pounds to 152 pounds. But I'm going to tell you what the blemish is in that range, okay? She's fought some great names. She's fought Natasha Jonas to a draw. She's fought Eva Wallstrom at super featherweight. Okay, she's fought Vivian Obanoff, who can't bust a grape, but she's a bigger fighter. But the blemish is she's fought Bortslava Goranova, who is 11 wins and something like 60 losses. That's a blemish. Even if you beat her, you've lost. Okay, you can't fight somebody. You can't fight somebody like that and take it seriously. She's a career loser. Okay, next, let me see this girl Terry Harper in action. Come on, y'all. Come on, lovely assistant. Come on, because we just want. There she go with her long self. Okay, and you see her toes up like Michael Jackson delivering that shot. Ain't no pop on that. That picture had to come up too, right? Because that's what's happening, right? As a fighter, you see somebody up on their tippy toes like that, just go on in and take it, okay? Because ain't no power, ain't no pop, right? You can't stand on your toes and deliver sound shots, okay? Next, all right. So fighter number 5. Oh, look at me and my misfits. Uh-oh. All right, so we got Sugar and her misfits. Is there any more Miss Scott? I look forward to that, Sugar. Have a good night. Have a good night, Miss Scott. Thanks for coming to see me on Wednesday. All right, so we're gonna come in Alicia Baumgardner, okay? Honorable mention, okay? So she fights opposition between 126 pounds and 135 pounds. Okay, she's got pop on her punches. She's a contender. She's only 27 years old. So she's got some maturing. She's got some seasoning to get. Okay, she's a super featherweight. She's fought Nydia Feliciano, great boxer. She's fought Christina Leonardo, who actually beat her. Okay, and she's fought honorable mention journeywoman Vanessa Bradford, who can't bust a grape. Okay, next fighter in the lightweight division. Next fighter. Let me see her in action. Oh shoot, y'all got the paper crooked and everything, but okay. So we got Melissa Saint Vil. Okay, I wish y'all had put my girl's picture better up on the screen, but okay. Melissa Saint Vil is the superstar of this division as well. Why? Because she has been in the game long enough to where she's a crone now. She's 38 years old. Melissa Saint Vil. I'm just looking at my paperwork here because y'all got me doing some homework. Okay, so she's a crone. She's about 38 years old. She fights between 100. Her opposition has been between the weights of 124 pounds and 145 pounds. Okay, so she's stepped there. She's gone there. Okay, that's close to a 25-pound range. Okay. She's fought Jennifer Hahn. She's fought Natasha Spence. Natasha, she was a okay fighter out there. Jennifer Hahn, she's on the list. She's fought Delphine Persoon, but Delphine Persoon retired her. So that lets you know how serious Delphine Persoon is. Okay, that right there is tough. Delphine can't get a fight if Delphine couldn't get a fight if she showed up to a fight and jumped in the ring. Nobody will fight her. Okay. She fought Dahania Santana. Excellent fighter. Excellent journeywoman fighter. Okay. They turned her into a journeywoman. That right there is a real champion. Olivia Garula, good journeywoman. I've mentioned her before. Eva Wallstrom. And She's fought Jennifer Salinas, so she has some good names on her resume. She's a crone now. I'm looking for her to fight any of these women that I've mentioned. Michaela, why don't you call Melissa Saint Vil, right? Melissa Saint Vil has fought from 124 to 145. Why you ain't calling her out? Huh? See, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Let me see Melissa Saint Vil in action. Please, come on, change the picture. Hello. All right, come on. Let me see her in action. Okay, there she goes. And she's actually fighting Olivia Garula in this picture. Okay. She's a fighter. Her style is she's a fighter. She boxes a little bit, but she gonna fight your ass. Next. All right, so fighter number 7. Let me see it. Amanda Serrano. She fighting at the end of the month. Okay, so Amanda Serrano, she has carefully, the range of her fighters was between 122 pounds and 138 pounds. Her opposition ranged from 122 pounds to 138 pounds. But the fly in the ointment here is they have been very carefully chosen. Okay, she fights at featherweight. She's still a contender. She's 33 years old. Okay, so she's still got a little bit more seasoning. Okay, not like her sister, Cindy. Cindy can fight. Cindy can fight her ass off, and Cindy has been in there with some good opposition. Okay, hey Cindy, season up your little sister season her up, because I don't think she's gonna make it against Katie for this fight, but she still got some time and she still got some fight in her. Okay, I hope she proved me wrong though. Okay, so Amanda Serrano, she fights at featherweight. She's fought Nydia Feliciano. She's fought Frida Wahlberg. Frida Wahlberg was she was a highly accomplished amateur and a pretty good pro. Kind of fell off the map. She's fought Dominga Olivio. Okay, I have to say, Dominga. I gotta bring Dominga up because Dominga was a great scrapper as an amateur, and she was pretty decent as a pro. They did her dirty in professional boxing because they turned her into an opponent when she was actually a great contender. She's fought Fatuma Zarika out of South Africa, Olivia Garula, Jasmine Rivas, Dahania Santana. Look this one up, okay? Right? This one was a good one. Dahania Santana. She fought Heather Hardy, okay? And Heather Hardy is a smaller fighter than her, I think. Yes, right? And Heather Hardy, if anything, that's an Irish woman. Yeah, I think, yeah. Right? She got that blood, Irish blood. She fight. She fight till the blood drip down. She gonna fight. And she fought Yamila Renasso at welterweight. Okay. Okay. Let me see her in action, y'all. We're gonna wrap it up. Let me see Amanda Serrano in action so the folks can see. Okay, there she goes. Oh my gosh, this picture right here. As a matter of fact, this fighter right here also, I forgot who she fought. Both her eyes were closed. This contender right here, and she had a smile in her face. I think she got punched in her face over 200 times. That's why I remember her, and she was smiling about it. Mm-mm. That's not what it is, boo-boo. So you see Serrano. I love this picture of Serrano because Serrano got her eye on the target, delivering the shot. Right? That's showing that Serrano, she got skills. Right? I just want her to get some grit. I want her to she got time. Right? When she becomes a crone, that's when you're going to see the real Amanda. Right? But now she cute and pretty, right? And that's what you see right now. Jairo, Jairo. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, but you came in and you said, what do you think of the signing of Ashton to Jake Paul's promotional company. Well, what I think is Jake Paul, he's trying to step up there with Hearn, right? He's trying to skip over heads, and he's trying to be a big name promoter. He put himself out there. He was a gamer. He put himself out there, and he could like, he's been training with some guys that you could tell that he's been training with some guys that um are serious in the game, right? I think he's got some legit fighters in his corner. That's oh goodness, what happened here? Sorry, y'all. I don't know what happened there. Technology done failed me. But going back to what I was saying, um, Jake Paul, Ashton, the signing of these fighters. I'm not familiar too much with Ashton, but the signing, Jake Paul signing these people because he's hoping, because he signed Amanda Serrano. He's hoping that these names are going to put him in, right up there with these other promoters, large promoters in the game, because promoters in boxing are just like fighters in boxing. They come a dime a dozen, actually. But there are promoters who have been names for years, right? And I think Dazn is a new one that has come about in the past, I think 10 years or something like that. So there are new promoters coming, just like new fighters come, right? And it's who the promoter houses. It's the type of fighters, the stable that they collect and have. Do I have a bunch of bad mofos, right? It's the promoter with the best fighters. Um, Michael comes in and says, we chat about that this week. Y'all should have invited me, Michael. You hurt my feelings. I would have loved to been a part of that chat. But yes, promoters, like I said, promoters are a dime a dozen, just like fighters. And Jake Paul is jumping over heads trying to be a big promoter, right? So somehow he's gotten himself on a platform. You know who he is, Jero. But really, in the game, he hasn't put no work in, enough work in to be a big promoter. He hasn't gone through the process like a promoter should in order to be a name promoter. So he could sign everybody he wants. He could sign anybody he wants. Let's see how long his reign lasts as a promoter. That is what I think about him signing Ashton or any fighter. Okay, um, the promoter. Your show is what makes you a promoter, and he's going up against Mayweather Promotions, Golden Boy Promotions, Aram, who've been around, DeBella. All of these people, they've been around, right? So you the new you, you're not even a real fight. You're not even somebody. You're not a real fighter, and you're not somebody that's been in the game long enough. So I think he going to end up going to WWE. To be quite honest, he looked like WWE, and I'm not hating on your boy, but that's what it looked like. Um, Jero comes in. Thank you so much for the insight and taking the time to answer my questions. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you for chiming in, Jero. Like, I'm going way past my you know my time, but thank you for chiming in and thank you for asking. And come on back on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. To the Sugar Show, and where we talk and fight, and we talk women's boxing and boxing. Now, let's go on to the last lady and wrap this thing up. Katie Taylor. Yes, girl. Katie Taylor is the queen of boxing right now. Okay. Katie Taylor is like Jesus' mother Mary in women boxing. And I hate, like, I don't want to, I'm not making fun of religion. I'm surely, I'm not. I'm not. But I had to, that is the best comparison that I can make. for this girl in women's boxing, because even when she lose, she can't lose. They won't let her. Right? She's gotten gifts and she's robbed people, and that ain't gonna go. They have 20 win in women's boxing, 20 wins, and you only have 6 KOs. 20 wins and no losses, and you only have 6 KOs. So ain't nobody caught up to you. That's unrealistic. That's not realistic in women's boxing, right? Like I said, not even Cecilia Brækhus. Cecilia Brækhus lost eventually. So Katie, I don't know if they're going to make Katie Taylor retire undefeated eventually and be this, this legend that she really, I don't think she deserves to be. But, that's up to her. Jaira comes in. I think Amanda's experience and fierce boxing will overwhelm Katie. And I'm going to tell you this, Jairo. Katie Taylor is, not only is she a boxer, but she's a track star too. You got to outrun her. You got to corner her. You got to have the guns to hurt her and the skills to pay the bills. And Amanda ain't got all of that. Amanda got skills. Amanda can't outrun her. Amanda ain't got the guns. And Amanda ain't gonna hurt her. That's it. Okay. But I hope she proves me wrong. But as someone with an eye for this game and someone who's been in there, Amanda ain't the answer. Amanda ain't gonna solve the problem of Katie Taylor. And I'm not sure if the powers that be will let Katie Taylor be solved. I think they're going they'll what I am really curious to see is if they sacrifice her to the next queen, and who that next queen will be, or they will let her retire and turn her into some kind of legend that ain't a legend. Jara comes in. I will definitely be back the Wednesday after the fight. I'm with Amanda the whole way. Yes, come on back after the fight so we could talk about it. Yeah, you know what? I'm with Amanda too. I like the underdog, right? Because, it takes a lot of grit and it takes a lot of gonads. We got them too, to be an underdog and fight somebody like Katie Taylor. Because you David, and you're gonna fight Goliath, and you hoping that you sling that one shot that's gonna land and put it down. You hope. There's always a fighter's chance in a fight, right? So I hope that they change the record for this one, but I don't think so. So let's talk about Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor, the range of her opposition goes from 132 pounds to 139 pounds. Okay, so she has risks. She has given up about 7 pounds, right, to opposition. I don't think she will go up in weight any more than that. So everyone's trying to go down to possibly meet her halfway. I think even Clarissa Shields is probably trying to do that, because I don't understand why Clarissa, King Kong, would go down in weight, right? I just don't understand that. And Clarissa Shields versus Katie Taylor, two of them slapping up each other, because Clarissa certainly ain't going to have the guns or the power to deal with Katie Taylor by losing all that weight. And Katie Taylor ain't never bust a grape. I think she might have gotten TKOs, but the higher the competition, of course, the harder and more difficult it is to get a KO for a fighter like Katie, because she's a point fighter. Anyway, she's a contender right now, but she's going into croneship. She's 35 years old. Okay, so clocks. She's going into her maturity, and I really am curious to see how she matures into croneship. Um, she has she's a lightweight. She's fought the likes of Jessica McCaskill. Um, she's fought who is the welterweight champion right now. She's fought Victoria Bustos, who was a pretty decent contender. She's fought Amanda's sister, Sydney Serrano, who I hope will give Amanda some insight on what it was like in there with Katie. Um, she's fought Eva Wallstrom, who is a welterweight, but she can bust a grape. She's fought Delphine Pursoon, Katie Taylor has, and everybody is on some, everybody know that there was the okey doke right there. She ain't win. I didn't think she won those fights. The second fight, it may have been more competitive for Katie. Katie knew how to run, where to run, and I'm sure, and Katie had the ref too. So Delphine, which many of us underdogs have to, we have to fight two people in the ring: the ref and our opponent when it comes to being an underdog. And I'm gonna explain that in another session about how disgusting referees are, especially in women's boxing. She fought a great contender in Natasha Jonas, and Natasha Jonas just could never get a break with Katie. This fighter could just never get a break, but now she is the middleweight champion. Hello, McCaskill. I want to see McCaskill versus Jonas. That's a good fight. Y'all make it happen. And then Katie Taylor fought Jennifer Hahn, who just fought Michaela Meyer. So you guys, thanks for staying in here with me. It's been, I guess I made up for missing last week's episode, but this week there she go in action, Katie Taylor. This is some opposition there. Against Katie, and it looked like Katie go on attack and then run away. So thank you guys for showing up this Wednesday with me at 7:30. I like I said, I must have made up for last week. I wasn't around last week, but I'll be around this week and next weekend too. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe, share some of this sugar, because I'm here and we want to talk. We want to be on Talk and Fight, and we want to talk women's boxing, because that's what that's what sugar is all about, women's boxing. You don't have to know it, right? This is your opportunity to ask about it. This is your opportunity to any question, ask me. That's what I'm here for. And we're here to talk about some of these broads out here, some of these crones out here, some of these contenders out here that are trying to do this thing. Are they legit? Are they not legit? Let's talk about it. All right, so I'll see you next week on Wednesday, 7:30. As usual, come back and get some of this sugar. Bye-bye. Message. I didn't even realize what the time was looking like.